We
It's
are
live.
we are live. We're live. Well, who are you? Let's get this out of the way.
Bo Windico and John Colder, Ice Lawson.
And for the better part of this, I'm Brent Leary.
That's the better part. All
That is
right.
always the best part of the show. I'm
Okay.
just glad that the sun has peeked out. We just had a storm. It
Yes,
rolled
the sun
through.
is out.
That's a good sign.
I hope so, man. I need some good weather.
We need something. We need
Yeah.
something, but it is past the mic time. But we're going old school here.
Okay. Can't wait.
We're going back to our origins, going back to our roots. How we got
Oh
started.
boy.
You know how we got started.
Oh boy. Here we go. What is this?
What was the original name of this?
Watching Amazon?
Why you say that like you don't know?
I don't know. I mean, there could have been other. You never know. You pull out all kind of bullshit. Who knows what it is?
I can't go back in time and change the name of the show though, right? I mean, it was called Watching Amazon for a
You know,
number of years.
you have a weird memory.
Yeah, in other words, I have one.
If you say so. Let's go.
We got started. People watched us in the tens of thousands because of our watching,
Yeah, right.
or at least the tens, maybe,
I'm about to say more tens than thousands, but yeah.
because of our witty dialogue and give and take on all things Amazon, right?
That being me.
Well, yeah.
They watch
Take,
because of
yes.
me.
Witty, no. Just put it out like that. Anyway, Andy Jassy, the CEO, the second CEO of Amazon.
The current.
Current. For he put out his I think this is his second annual stakeholder letters or shareholder letter to the shareholder, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was his second or third. When did JB leave? Was that 2020?
Was it? Yeah, it was.
I think it was
What was
after he put out the stakeholder letter. Remember, I think he like officially turn over the reins in April of 2020 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Anyway, I think this is Jazzy's second. I think second or third. I don't know. And it caused a lot of discussion, a lot of talk, a lot of analysis, all that kind of stuff. But we haven't done any of that.
Okay.
I think the people need to hear from us on this stuff.
Yeah, you think so? What? Why?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, it's Friday.
Think,
It's Friday.
I'd like to think, somebody out there, listening, maybe a relative of Colder Ice, because he has a lot of them. I don't know if cousin Gar is out there, or isn't there somebody, Lisa? Isn't there a Lisa? That's
All kind of cousins.
Where's Shay at? We need Shay. Oh, she's like a
Cousin Shay.
play cousin or so. So anyway, I actually read
You have the letter?
I read it, and I culled out a couple of things that I thought would be interesting to kind of have a little give and take, a little back and forth, little point counterpoint. Dare I say, a little past the mic on some of these points. But before we get into that, I said we're going old school, and I mean it. And you know what I used to do a lot back in the day?
Pontificate?
No, beyond that. I used to play clips.
Okay.
And it just so happens that along with the release of the shareholder letter, Mr. Jassy did a pretty extensive interview, one-on-one interview with CNBC. I think what's his guy's name? Andrew Ross Sorkin. You ever watch that guy?
Yeah, it's every once in a while.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so he got a chance to do a sit down one on one with Jassy.
Lucky guy.
Now we're not gonna we're not gonna play the whole thing, but I thought
Thank
it would be
God.
interesting to play a couple of clips that kind of will hopefully set the stage.
All right.
Conversation. And when I say conversation, I don't mean just with him. Anybody else out there who might have a thought on some of this stuff, we would encourage you to chime in the comment section.
Drop in. Say hi.
Say hi, say hello, say whatever you think about some of the stuff that we'll bring up.
What's
Right.
up?
Yeah, that. All right. So here's the first clip. And this is kind of to set the stage clip for their conversation. This is like almost sort of like Jassy's opening remarks if he was speaking at like a congressional hearing or something like that. All right, here we go.
Optimistic about what lies ahead for Amazon, and I think there are a lot of reasons for it. I'd start with just a couple data points. If you look at our two largest businesses, if you look in our stores business, which is our retail business, we still only have, even though it's about a $434 billion business, we still only have about 1% of the worldwide market segment share in retail, and 80% of it still lives in physical stores. And if you look in our AWS business, which is about an $85 billion revenue run rate business, about 90% of that global IT spend is still on premises, not in the cloud. So if you believe that those equations are going to flip over time, which we do and we're seeing, we have a lot more growth in front of us. And so I look at where we are today, and then I think about working through one of the harder macroeconomic years in recent memory, and the fact that we were able to grow our top line on top of an incredible surge during the pandemic, and the fact that we were able to innovate across all our businesses, which will impact both the short and long term, and the fact that we have changed the way that we're going to invent and collaborate together by getting into the office more, and the fact that we were able to meaningfully streamline our costs while at the same time preserving the strategic long-term investments that we believe can meaningfully change customer experiences in Amazon for the long term. I think we have a lot to look forward to.
All right, your thoughts.
Why was he reminding me?
No, he just wanted to put it out there, I think.
I mean, it almost felt like he was setting it up.
Well, of course he's setting it up. I mean,
yeah.
But just concentrate on some of them numbers. The fact that 80% of sales are still very much so in physical stores, although they have 434 billion in revenues, and they only own 1% of. I guess he meant 1% of overall U.S. retail.
I don't think he meant U.S. retail.
Do you think that was worldwide? Do you want me to play that back?
Yeah, I can't see him just 1% of U.S. retail.
Well, it's more than 1% of online U.S. retail, right? I mean, it's way more than that. So, all right, I'll play it back. We'll see what he says.
I'm curious.
Optimistic about what lies ahead for Amazon, and I think there are a lot of reasons for it. I'd start with just a couple data points. If you look at our two largest businesses, if you look in our stores business, which is our retail business, we still only have, even though it's about a $434 billion business, we still only have about 1% of the worldwide market segment share in retail.
Yeah.
And 80% of it still lives in physical stores.
Worldwide. And then so he's talking about worldwide. Both of those numbers are worldwide.
1% of worldwide.
Yeah, okay.
Worldwide for one company, I know it sounds small, but for one company,
that's huge.
1%. And
it's actually 434 billion. So there you go.
434 billion. And what he's saying is that's great, but only 20% of the worldwide retail is online. And if you think that the trend is still for that business to strategically over time go from 80% in store to closer to 50-50, if not more, then what he's basically saying is there's a lot of room to grow here, folks. Right? I mean, that's exactly.
Absolutely.
So do you agree with that? Do you think that that's you got to take that into consideration when you look at Amazon?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, I don't have to take it in consideration that, hey, Amazon's going to, step up to the plate and make that happen. I don't know,
And
but there's a possibility. Yes.
so I think what he's saying is they're two biggest chunks of business: retail and IT global cloud services. Uh, Retail, 80% of the business is still physical stores. Cloud computing, well, AWS, where it operates, still 90% of the IT spend is on site, on prem. So basically, what he's saying is, even though we had a rough year, our total addressable market is crazy big on our two biggest business units. Does that does that
I
does
don't
that
know. It's just, but nothing's changed. He's stating the obvious well, maybe it's not obvious to most, but that's why I'm like, why is he trying to make us remember? It was weird.
Oh,
Anyway,
you know why he's trying to make you remember?
yeah, because they had a really rough year.
Because the stock price has been like,
Exactly.
dang. But
Exactly.
the stock price and their business prospects, aren't exactly jiving with each other right now, right? I mean, when their stock was big, this total adjustable market was still up there, right? Now that the stock price is taking a hit, the total adjustable market is still as big. So I think that's, if I were in his shoes, that's what I'd be saying.
Yeah. But again, this is not what you normally say.
What would you normally say?
I'm just saying this is not something, hey, let's start out this conversation with our addressable market. So I don't know. It's weird.
Well, it's not that he's saying he's just starting it off with he's stating their number. I think he's saying 434 billion. That's a good number. But the market is still huge.
And it could grow. We could grow our dominance in that market.
Not only will the shift from physical to digital continue on, and that will grow. So that in itself should grow our pie. But we actually think we'll be able to get even a bigger slice of a bigger growing pie. Yeah. And I think that was the thing. I think he was framing how big the pie is and how little of a slice so far of the overall pie that they have.
Absolutely.
In both the retail business and on the IT spend, which I thought was a smart thing, because he's going to get killed. The interviewer is going to come in because he's probably got his zinger questions. I think that was a good way to frame it. All right, let's go through some of this stuff. So we just talked about that. Vast majority of total market share in global retail, still physical. And I mean, that's actually, I think he said that their business is going to be 85 billion for AWS, although he did put it in the letter. I actually cut and pasted that right from the letter. But when you think about AWS, 85 billion. I mean, a couple of years ago, we're talking like 20 billion. And now it's 85 billion. And 90% of the global IT spend is still on premise. So once again, there's still this massive revenue opportunity for not only AWS, of course, but with Amazon, and so you got Azure. Google is out there. I still don't know exactly. Google is so far behind Amazon and Azure. Oracle is out there. There's some other players. I think Alibaba is trying to get in on the market. So once again, it's a huge market for IT services. Amazon has already staked its claim to a lead position, but the market still has so much opportunity because there's still a lot of companies still running on-prem, which 90%. I would have been shocked if somebody asked me what percentage of the IT spend is in the cloud versus on-prem. I would have thought it'd be at least 20, 25, 30% at this point, but it's only 10. That's amazing to me.
Yeah. Well, all of these numbers, these world numbers, just are weird for me.
Why are they weird? Let me know why they're weird.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just not the way.
Are you not buying the numbers, or
No, I'm sure these are, great numbers and all that. It's just not necessarily the way. I don't know. Something about it that just doesn't excite me. It doesn't make me go like, yeah, wow, there's a lot left on the table. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, because you're seeing there's a lot left on the table, but you're saying you're not excited.
Yeah, it's not like all of that is really addressable.
Okay. So
right.
So it's not, the number is not a total addressable market number for what you're saying. That's a big number, but it's not Amazon.
Yeah, maybe 25% of that's never going to be in the cloud.
Okay.
That kind of feeling, that kind of vibe, I guess.
Yeah, because it's not going to go from 0 to 100%.
Right.
Then that's just not going to happen. But it does feel like there's still a lot of meat on the bone.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of meat on the bone. Gosh, I don't know, man. It's like, how long does it take? I think there's actual physical, reasons why some of that will not be, you know what I'm saying? In the cloud at some point.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on.
Interesting.
During the early part of the pandemic, with many physical stores shut down, our consumer business grew at an extraordinary clip, with an annual revenue increasing from $245 billion in 2019 to $434 billion. So they almost doubled in 3 years. Is that what is that? How does that make you feel?
I mean, now that, yeah.
How many other
tight. That's some tight numbers, right?
How many other companies of that, of that size and scale could say? I mean, go
almost double.
Yeah, to almost double at that level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's so you are impressed with that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm impressed with that. I mean, yeah, there's not a whole lot you can say on that one.
Okay.
Right. You know what? Honestly, that's the way I would start the conversation.
Well, all right, but if you take,
and then I would go into the addressable size of market.
But either way you do it, either if you do it like this and then you go into that, or you do it by that and you go into this. If you take them in combination, it's saying, yeah,
good story.
Yeah, it's all right. So the story, so the one bullet point on its own doesn't get you, but kind of combining these do kind of get you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. That's it. Okay.
I can wrap my head around that one.
What's the most impressive part of that particular bullet point here?
The size of the company, and a company that size doubling
in revenue, right?
In revenue.
And yeah, and the
ability, I wonder how much I wonder what the profit is on that. How did the profit?
I bet. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I saw that in the letter.
It'd be like, because I know they spent a lot to manage the, we know they spent a lot to expand, to capture that kind of revenue.
I'll take you to the next bullet point.
Oh, yay.
Because the being able to double is a testament, not only just doubling, but it takes a lot to be able to double in 3 years revenue at that scale. So part of how they had to do it, they had to double the fulfillment center footprint that they built over the prior 25 years. and substantially accelerate building a last-minute transportation network that's now the size of UPS. So what they did in the last couple of years is
my way.
Yeah, it's kind of an incredible thing that they were able to do that. And when you think about how long UPS has been around, and fulfillment is not the primary business of Amazon. To me, that might be the most breathtaking part of these bullet points so far.
It's like I drive past this place, and today was an exceptionally, crowded day. And you just see the number of vehicles that it takes to make this happen, and the speed of which it can't even keep up with. You know what I'm saying? I mean, literally, we get off the freeway and it's 2 lights away from the exit, and today alone, like half of that distance was filled with trucks trying to get in to the fulfillment center, whether that's to drop off or pick up, I don't know. But, it's still there's still a bottleneck. They could probably do another thing on the fulfillment center footprint and still not be able to completely meet the capacity and speed that they want.
All right, so that leads to the next thing that I picked up on. Well, until recently, Amazon operated one national U.S. fulfillment network that distributed inventory from fulfillment centers spread across the entire. So they had just, I guess, up until the pre-pandemic, one huge fulfillment network, national. And a part of what they did during the pandemic is last year, we started re-architecting our inventory placement strategy and leveraging our larger fulfillment center footprint to move from a national fulfillment network to a regionalized network model. So I think they went from 1 to, I think they have 8 regional networks that they have put together this last year, this strategy. So once again, they were scaling up, but they were also re-architecting the current strategy and processes. So, I mean, and I have to say, I mean, there's been some hiccups for sure. I mean, earlier on, they were getting killed.
They still got hiccups. I still can't guarantee things in 48 hours anymore.
No.
Can you?
They did mess up one order recently, but it's not. I mean, 1 out of like 100. I think what we're seeing here is there's
you know what?
What
it is. It's kind of amazing that I'm saying that and hearing it come out of my mouth. How we've become so for something that was almost like magic before, we've already gotten used to, and I can actually complain about it.
Yeah. Well, I think that part of that is them
that's crazy.
Doing a really good job, so good that you kind of grown to expect all this stuff that happened.
And I think, I really think it's important to talk about this goofy ass image of him that's cartoonized on this slide.
Well, I did that, so that's my Photoshop. I'm playing around with Photoshop.
Oh, you actually made the image?
Well, it was
generated the image.
It was an actual picture that I enhanced.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So anyway, and I took it out. My Photoshop skills are getting pretty good, I have to say.
Oh wow! I'm amazed. I'm impressed.
Wow, we got that all recorded. So anyway. All right. So next thing. All right. So once again, keep on building. I mean, this letter was really well written because I'm basically just stepping through. I haven't really had to jump back and forth. I'm just kind of stepping through. All right. So So we went from one national fulfillment network to now it's a regionalized, and part of that reason is shorter travel distances mean lower costs to serve. So they're trying to lower the cost, always trying to lower the cost, but it also aligns with customers getting their orders faster. So that's pretty much a win-win. So you're building your infrastructure in such a way, and you're building your infrastructure and you're re-architecting your strategy to not only lower your costs but also improve the customer experience. That should be a goal for every company trying to get their digital transformation stuff on. Lowering costs while also meeting and improving on customer experiences expectations.
I'm guessing that actually is putting some pressure on this. It takes time to move things around like that, and you're going to have things that fall through the gap.
Right, but if you see how they're investing in doing this, does it make you feel like, okay, yeah, all right, I bet by the time this is, a month from now, or 6 months from now, we start to see their percentage of getting this right increase. And that's all you can ask for as a customer, at least. You're at,
although, like I said, that's where I'm at now. I'm serious. I'm not being funny.
Right.
I'm not being funny. I mean, it's I don't sit and watch popcorn pop in the microwave anymore. I walk away. I'm doing other things. That's part of the existence now.
You don't want to see how the sausage is made?
It's not that. I've gotten used to now I can have popcorn in 3 minutes, whereas before it would take, 15. I've just gotten used to that. I know I can put something in the microwave. 2 minutes later, it's warm. I mean, we get used to these things, so they're going to have to do something else to make me go, ooh.
Well, let's go down the popcorn thing. So you're used to get it. You had gotten it in 3 minutes. Now you used to get it to 2 minutes. I mean, are your expectations for? I want to get it in 30 seconds or something now.
I don't know what the expectation is. I mean, I don't know. I've seen them do, something I order on Sunday night, arrive on Monday.
Yeah, I got it. I ordered it something on a Friday at 11 and got it by 2 on Friday afternoon.
Right. Now, if they do that 10 more times, are you going to be like, oh, wow? No, you're going to be like, okay.
No, you grow to expect it, of course.
You grow to expect, and that's where I'm at with their speed of delivery at this point.
But you grow to expect it from them, and because you grow to expect it from them, you lock out the competitors because you don't think
they already got me.
Worse.
They already got me.
Yeah. Oh, look. Hey, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Meh.
My man, Nate.
Try living in Croatia. It takes 3 days to.
He's like, that's meh.
But Nathaniel, how long was that delivery time a couple of years ago? Just curious to find out if they've improved.
Has that increased in Croatia?
Yeah.
Or is that still?
Yeah, let us know
where it was.
All right. Let's keep on moving. This is it says we're on track to have our fastest prime delivery speeds ever, which you would expect, right?
Right.
You would expect that. All right. But I guess you had to add it. All right, let's keep moving. All right, there we go. Oh, let's see what Nathaniel said.
He's
no idea. I've only been here. Okay. Fair enough. We'll check back with us in a couple of months.
2 years, yeah. Let us know where you're at in 2 years, buddy.
You're the pace of life. Okay.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, as long as it matches.
I was about to say, hey, you're in Croatia. It's beautiful over there.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk advertising. Advertising revenue has continued to grow rapidly, 23% year over year, 25% year over year for 2022. And there are a $31 billion revenue base. So I remember when we were first started to talk about them as a digital advertising platform.
Was it a 2 billion?
It was like what, 3 or 4 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's 31 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Even with all the economic uncertainty. So and that's not even one of their top two business. And that's so. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know how I've always felt about their revenue in that. You know, that's the seller.
They make you they make you use their.
I mean, I'm just saying, more and more sellers use it. More and more you need to use it. It's eating other people's lunch, and it's good money and cash flow for Amazon. And they keep leveraging more and more, space on the page to advertising. So, sponsored products.
Yeah. Well, what do you think when you have the marketplace? You kind of have you have the
lever
data.
You pull.
Yeah, you have the marketplace. You have the customers coming. You have the data from the customers coming. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to fight that. I mean,
it's definitely hard.
All right. So we got 434 billion overall, everything. We've got 85 billion coming strictly from AWS, which is their most profitable revenue, I would assume. But maybe, this advertising business, that revenue has got to be very much close to 80-90% profit, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. But it's predicated on the other numbers.
Well, yeah.
It's not a standalone business as it seems like. Like AWS is totally not.
That's a complete
yeah.
But still, it's pure. Yeah, I mean, it's mostly profitable revenue, but it also drives the retail sales, which is anything but profitable revenue, whereas AWS is completely disconnected from the retail stuff. But that's two of their three. I'm guessing that's the third biggest business unit. That's two of their three biggest business units are what I would say very profitable revenue streams versus the retail, which is what's the margins on retail these days, on online retail?
What do you mean?
What's the profit margin? What are they making?
Average?
Yeah, what are they making off of their sales on the store, on the marketplace? What
you talking about? Amazon?
Yeah, I'm talking about Amazon. What are they making off of that?
They haven't raised it. You mean like the 18%?
That's what I'm trying to find. Like the profit margin for AWS is probably around 70-80%, man, maybe more. And I'm guessing the profit margin for the ad business is probably along those lines, if not better. But what is the profit margin for their retail? Their sales, online retail.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I don't think they even they don't really,
they don't publicize it.
Yeah, because there's so many moving parts on that.
All right.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm gonna have to look for that. I wonder if there is some data around that or something.
So let's
estimates.
So we know 85 billion from AWS, another 31 billion. So we're talking like 116 billion. Think about that. 116 billion in revenue from completely divorced. Well, not necessarily, because the digital ad is part of it drives the retail, but that's still 116 billion dollars it's not coming from people directly buying stuff. That's I remember it seemed like it was only a couple of years ago where, 3 years ago was 243 billion. We know that.
Well, I mean, is memberships in there?
Subscriptions? I don't think that's a part of I don't think that's a part of ads or AWS, right? So that's
I don't know, man, because I don't think they break that number out.
from the retail.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah,
Geez, that's a good question because
I think that's in there.
so there's roughly what 200 million people subscribe, right? And that's just in the U.S., right?
Yeah, 250 maybe.
Maybe they roll that into the retail.
I think they have to roll that into the retail.
All right.
Yeah,
But that's another one of those. I wonder what just subscriptions, what that revenue would be. Just
right.
that.
And see, when you throw that in there, then you were like, yeah, how profitable are they? You know, that would definitely be part of the profitable.
Yeah. Because what do you think the profit margins are from Amazon Prime annual subscription? Like it's $140 a month. I mean a year. So how much of that 140 is profit?
I'm gonna say 0.
So you think that's just a way to
Keep people on the platform.
customer acquisition and customer retention?
Yeah, I'm gonna go close to 0. It might actually be negative.
Well, you know
They
what?
might actually lose.
It makes a lot of sense because because I remember years ago, I forget the company that came out with these numbers, but an Amazon Prime subscriber was like X amount times more likely to buy stuff, you know, and the average amount they spent was X amount more than non-subscribers. So bringing on a subscriber leads to a lot more sales, not just. And plus, a subscriber has access to all these video libraries and music libraries, and so you're right. Maybe we find out that there's actually a net cost just on the subscription, not on what happens after the subscription. But that'd be really interesting to find out.
That would be, but they will never let you find
it. Nah. That's right up there with like the 11 herbs and spices from Colonel
Exactly.
Sanders.
That's part of the secret recipe. Exactly.
Right. Let's move. This is one interesting stat that came out of that. Grocery is an $800 billion market segment in the U.S. alone. And the reason that he pointed out is they said that's one of the areas that they are going to still invest the same levels, if not more, and getting more of that market. So while they cut back in some of the other businesses, this is an area they see as still they're investing heavily in because of the opportunity. I guess the total addressable market, 800 million. And I would assume that if 80% of the overall retail market is bought in a store, groceries, that number is probably closer to 95.
Yeah. Worldwide?
Maybe that's low. I don't know. Because I think the vast majority of folks are still buying their food
in store.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, or still getting it delivered. I still see more and more Kroger and Walmart deliveries.
That's not.
But that's still in store. That's still in store. You're saying, and we count that in store.
If they're getting it delivered, that's not in store. I'm saying people going to the market and buying, filling up a cart and buying, right?
Yeah. I mean, to me, Amazon hasn't done much that I would be impressed with in that area. I've seen them try a lot of different things, but none of them have really just like blown up and be like, wow, they've really revolutionized the industry. I haven't seen them. I would love to know how successful they have actually been in this arm.
Obviously, I don't think they feel like they've been successful at all with this.
Right.
Even after buying Whole Foods for what, 13 billion?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. So, but it seems like, without saying they're doubling down, it feels like that's what they're doing. If they're cutting out other aspects and still going after this segment, and it feels like they are kind of admitting they haven't been as successful as they wanted to.
Yeah, they have to. We can see it. We know.
Yeah.
we get that, bro.
I'm still waiting for the Whole Foods on my part of town, man.
I'm not even waiting on that. I'm waiting for the be able to walk in, and just buy. I'm waiting for one of these experimental stores to work.
Dean Kagan is asking how is grocery reported. I don't know. See, they
That's
were
a good
slick.
question.
They were slick. He didn't break out the grocery numbers in
He
his
knows
letter.
better.
He just talked about the total adjustable market. And
He
we know
knows
that
better.
they ain't getting a lot. We can almost put 2 and 2 together here because, as we said, he talked about the total adjustable market for retail and how still 80% of things are bought in store. And if we're saying that when it comes to food and groceries, at 80% is probably closer to 95, maybe even higher than that, then that kind of tells you how unsuccessful this has been, right? If you kind of
Absolutely.
connect the dots there on that one. So, Dean, we don't know the specifics, but we kind of know there ain't a lot of stuff going on when it comes to online groceries yet.
Nope.
Not yet. And if they're in Walmart, I would assume would be the driver of that, right? I mean, they would probably be far ahead right now of that.
Which, I mean, it's kind of funny because you rewind 3-4 years ago and everybody's like, oh man, Walmart's in trouble. Walmart being like, eh.
Well, people went back to going to the stores. I mean, at least for food, I go to the market.
Well, I mean, people are always going to go to the store for food. Did you ever order produce? Shit.
No, I'm picky. I don't want nobody else picking.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I got to go to the store to get my produce.
Unless you have, one of those, picture. Well, does the Instacart do that? Like the person who's buying your stuff, like holds up a video camera. You can say, "Oh, I don't want that one."
I have not had that experience. I've ordered from Instacart and I've ordered from Walmart, and I've not had that experience. And oftentimes, the produce is not going to be the best pick.
Nah, see, that's why I wouldn't even try it. I'm picky to begin with, so I know.
I mean, trust me, I like it. But if it's the produce part, I'm just going to make the trek into the store.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's too many built-in things that people are so used to buying going into a store versus online because of you have to trust certain elements will be there. And I ain't.
And you're right.
I am not.
They haven't expanded Whole Foods into, the hoods that they claim they were going to service.
And I mean, I really don't even live in the hood, but
you do.
All right, moving right along. Let's see what we got here. All right, here's another one. Amazon Business launched in 2015 and today drives roughly 35 billion in annualized gross sales. See, now they're being a little slick there.
Yeah, they are.
Say that Amazon Business is now a $35 billion business. They're saying it drives roughly. What the hell does that mean?
I don't even know. I don't even know why they're. I mean, it's supposed to be what? I'm guessing it's B2B sales.
Yeah, but why not come right out with the number? Instead of the way it's worded, it drives roughly 35, as opposed to being, that's the annual revenues for Amazon Business.
I don't know if that number would have not been there anyway, to some degree.
Yeah, when it says it drives, it doesn't. For me, it doesn't sound like that means directly responsible for $35 billion. It means there's some kind of partnership or something that's letting me account for some revenue over here that it really wouldn't directly be accountable for, or something like that. That's what it feels
like. I mean, it's just they're able to break it out now, probably because of Amazon Business.
All right, but still 35 billion. That's a big number, right? I mean, that's a huge number.
Yeah.
If it's
8%.
Yeah, of the overall. I mean,
of the overall, that's interesting.
So we're saying that's like B2B business for the most
part?
That's
what I'm guessing. I'm not sure exactly what Amazon Business is, but I'm thinking that's what that is.
maybe there is a non-grocery attach rate. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Dean? Tell us, tell us.
Yeah, while you telling us, we're going to keep moving a little bit here.
Dean's all in that world.
Oh, okay. This is all right. This is where I wanted to take a pause here because I
Okay.
have another clip. Because not only did they write the letter, they made some significant announcements around one of your favorite areas right now, large language models. Yeah,
Okay.
you know. All right, and we'll come back after Andy talks about where Amazon stands with generative AI and all that good stuff. All right, here we go.
Machine learning in a really meaningful way across Amazon for over 20 years, and it's in everything we do. You know, the personalized e-commerce recommendations, the way we do pick, pass, and fulfillment centers, and Alexa. I mean, virtually everything we do. And then in AWS, we have over 25 machine learning services. We have the broadest set of functionality and set of customers in machine learning. So it's a big part of our heritage. But the last 6 to 9 months, you've seen this really exciting development in large language models and generative AI, which fuel things like ChatGPT. And so the announcement you were talking about today is in our AWS business, where if you think about what AWS has been doing for many years, we've been really trying to democratize technology so that large and small companies alike can afford and have access to build amazing customer experiences. And so if you think about running these large language models, there's 3 pieces to it. The first is they all need compute. You're going to train models, and then the models spit out inferences or predictions. And so that compute, the key pieces are the chips inside of it. And so we've been working on specialized chips for training called Trainium and for inference called Inferentia that have the combination of price and performance in a really advantageous way relative to what you can do otherwise. Then most companies want to use these large language models, but the really good ones take billions of dollars to train and many years, and most companies don't want to go through that. And so what they want to do is they want to work off of a foundational model that's big and great already, and then have the ability to customize it for their own purposes. And that's what Bedrock is, which we now say, which is it'll give you access to large language models from Anthropic, from Stability AI, from AI 21, and from ourselves. We're externalizing some of our own models we call Titan. And then it lets
these are not consumer models. These are models to build software.
Yeah, they're big, large language models that you can build these generative AI experiences on top of, and you just have to fine-tune them for what's specific about your application. So that's Bedrock, which I think will change the game for people. And then, there are going to be these applications built on top of these large language models. ChatGPT is an example of that. What we now say is something called Code Whisperer, which is for developers. And so if you're writing code, instead of having to write everything and do all the art and the science yourself, you can, in a natural language way, just say what you want to do, and Code Whisperer will generate the code for you. And that will substantially change developers' productivity.
That was a lot, but what are your thoughts?
Oh, that sounds interesting. That sounds like, hey, I have to give it to, but here's the thing. Most people, like you said, I'm into this, and most people don't even understand it. All they care about is, hey, it writes my blog post.
Right.
That's the bullshit that they're on. But I think it is good that Amazon remind people that, hey, they're one of the leaders of this thing from the time they started recommending these books to you, when they were just selling books. That was AI driven, and they've been in this game a long time. And like he said, man, we got robots in our, pick, pack, and fulfillment centers. Everything every label that we print, all of this stuff is all generated with AI. So that's one part. And then I find it interesting that he has to talk. It's almost like he's got to kind of compare apples to oranges, right? Because ChatGPT and I'm talking about the ChatGPT part versus what they're putting out with Bedrock and, these chips that they're
chips. Most people don't think about these guys are creating compute chips, GPU chips.
Yeah.
And they have this. They've been doing AI for 25 years or so, and only because ChatGPT made it, I guess, possible for the average person to start thinking about this or talking about this stuff six 6-9 months ago. But these guys have been at it for years,
Yeah.
and they are now creating platforms and frameworks that allow people to use it, for companies to develop their stuff on it, for individual developers to create and use their large language model, like you said, to really have a large language model that will be very
Trainable.
helpful and trainable. You need billions of rows of data,
Yeah.
and not everybody
And millions of dollars.
not everybody has that at the disposal to make it available. So this becomes another part of the AWS stack, which is part of the reason why he pointed out at the very beginning that still 90% of people are buying stuff on-prem. You can't do this stuff on-prem.
No.
You can't afford to do it. You're going to have to go to Amazon, Microsoft, Google, maybe Oracle, to really, if you want to be a player at any stage of this, from the development aspects to the training library aspects to the data library aspects, it's gonna be cost prohibitive to try to do this on your own.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean, people have been building. Uber's built on Amazon, or at least it was. I don't know where it is today, but I mean, a lot of things that we've, we come to recognize as Netflix is running on Amazon still, or at least it was.
they
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
The whole
But
business on Amazon.
right. So these are businesses that were built using the tech stacks that Amazon has democratized for these developers. And then now what he said, which I thought, again, we can't overlook, he said that you're going to be able to speak and then have the code written for you. I mean, this is
Which, to make it accurate, you need tons of data and tons of training data, and you're going to need a privacy and a security layer, which, once again, a lot of people aren't even thinking about. They're so excited about, I could ask it to write a poem.
Yeah.
Okay, but to
and
do
it will write a poem.
I want you to write some code. Well, the code is going to have to be contextual, so you're going to you need lots of training data, but it also is going to have a security layer and a privacy layer. And not everybody is going to be able to do that or want to do that. So once again, the AWSs, the Azures, the Googles, they're going to be like the building blocks for all this stuff.
Yep.
So kind of going back to his original first points of just how small the footprint is to this huge total addressable market, in not only retail, but in tech and cloud computing. When you take that all in consideration with that last part of how they had to come out and figure out a very concise way of saying, hey, we are here and we'll be here in this market. Overall impressions of kind of the breakdown of pulling out some of the points from his letter, because all this came from his letter in addition to the one-on-one he had with CNBC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing, man. Amazon's been in this position multiple times, and we have found, if historically, if our history is a indicator of the future, people get a little weird on Amazon's numbers and they pull back, and then Amazon just shoots out the gate with something innovative. And I don't have a whole lot of concern right now.
I'm going to go out on the limb.
Where's the limb at?
I'm gonna
let you go.
I'm gonna channel.
I'll push you.
Thanks. I'm gonna channel Tina Marie. I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna say we're gonna look back and say this particular shareholder letter that Jassy put together may be one of the most important documents in their company's history.
One way or another.
Yeah, one way or another. I think you're right. I think if they actually pull off the stuff that he talks about in here, and you see their uh, their rates in terms of the rate of how much they have in retail and how big the retail market ends up being for online, and same goes with the cloud computing. If his hunches are correct, yeah, this will have been a significant footstep, because this is like the first one, that doesn't feel like he's in the shadow of Bezos. Like, it feels like he's now completely out of shadow. He made it through, or at least it feels like where maybe if we're not at the end of the difficult part, where I think there's at least you're able to see the end coming. And it doesn't feel like the specter of Bezos is on him with this letter. Like before it did. I don't feel like there's Bezos hanging over his shoulder right now. I think this letter might be as big for him and the company as maybe any letter that Bezos wrote previously, other than maybe the first couple.
That's thanks to Bezos just staying out of the public for a while.
Do you give him credit for not trying to come in when, because there were some tough times last year. The stock price was terrible.
Yeah.
But you didn't see it like him coming in on his white horse, trying to act like he was saving the day.
Bro, I told you, he's out. He's trying to go to the moon.
But some people would have said, "Damn, we're losing a lot of stock value here."
Yeah, man. I mean, look, you got to let the baby grow up.
I guess that's a testament to the relationship he has with Jassy, who has been there, I think he said, for 26 years, something like that.
And he's handpicked.
But it also is a testament to, Jassy putting his own footprint on this in the midst of all the chaos. That says a lot about both of those dudes, I think. When we look back, it'll be interesting to see 5 years from now if that was a true line of delineation between the before Jassy 23 note and after Jassy 23 note. Because if Gen AI is as big as everybody thinks it is, this was the first time that you felt like Amazon is telling their strategy or putting their cards on the table when it comes to this stuff. Everybody else has already done that to us.
Right.
And were you starting to feel like, does it feel like Amazon is starting to get left behind here? Or did it feel like, it's still very
when
with the Gen AI stuff, everybody else coming to the table and putting their cards on the table, because Microsoft with the OpenAI relationship, and they have already started putting it into the business applications. And then of course Google, although they've had a lot of misstarts with Bard, eventually they're gonna get it worked out. Apple has been pretty quiet on this stuff, which is kind of interesting. Why haven't we heard Apple in one of the more important feeling developments in tech?
Have you ever used Siri?
Which is a whole other story, because they were the very first virtual, digital assistant, and it feels like it's still 1 year old because it hasn't grown up at all in terms of its usefulness.
I don't know, man. This is about. I'm serious though. It's about it's game on, right? And I'm gonna tell you, I was thinking about this, and this is me and my analogies, right? But my husband loves to plant, flowers, right? And so, especially this time of year, you're moving out the old winter stock and you're bringing in the spring stock, right? Here's the thing: is you put like 4 of the same flower in the pot, oftentimes 1 or 2 of them win. Okay. And it's not like all the flowers don't grow, but the one that has the head start ends up being way bigger than the other one in the plant in the pot. That and not only does it get bigger, it gets more sunlight because it's bigger, right?
I thought you were going to say it gets deafer, so it'd be bigger and deafer.
Bigger and deafer, right? But I'm saying that OpenAI, Microsoft has a interesting lead in this thing that might sustain them through these challenges in a very unique way. Don't discount, because we're talking about exponential growth, and it could really change the whole landscape of these tech companies and how we view them and their values. It really could.
No, but who would underestimate Microsoft? Azure is as big as AWS, and Microsoft actually has the enterprise applications that they're already infusing the Gen AI into, and they have pretty significant partnerships. Another company that is getting into this is Adobe. I was at their thing. Yeah, talked about this a little bit. With Adobe Sensei and Adobe Firefly. And Adobe and Microsoft have one of the tightest relationships in enterprise application software. And because Adobe has Sensei, Microsoft has the relationship with OpenAI and Azure, and they are the CEO of Microsoft and the CEO of Adobe went to high school together or something like that. So yeah, Microsoft. I don't think there's going to be one winner. I think just like in all things tech, there are usually like a handful of big winners, and then there's everybody else. I think it's setting up to be Microsoft and Amazon. And I'm sure there's going to be a couple others that may not be. These two, they've got it kind of locked. Because of their foundation of Microsoft with Azure and Amazon with AWS. Those building blocks are huge.
Those building blocks are huge, and I'm thinking, that the advertising model that Google has been the cash cow of is going to evaporate rather rapidly unless they do something.
I think the company who has the most at stake is Google with Bard. They got to make Bard because they fell behind. Google Cloud has fallen so far behind Azure and AWS. They kind of need Bard to help them leapfrog to a certain extent.
But that's just not. I can't see it. I don't see it.
It's not feeling like it right now.
No.
It could be wrong because
could be wrong. Can't wait. They could pull something out of their pocket. I remember. Maybe was it 2020? It could have been 2019. It's been a while, but I remember they had this. See, this is the problem with Google. It's like they show off these things and then they never come to fruition. You remember when he was standing on stage and the computer ordered the pizza?
Yeah,
or made the reservation or what?
That caused such a stir.
It did, right?
Well,
you thought you were on the cusp.
Think about it. Think about this. Siri was the first, digital assistant, really, particularly on a mobile. So you would have thought Apple, piggybacking off of their success with the iPhone, 2011 is when they put Siri in. We're talking 12 full years. It was like 3 years later before Alexa came along with Amazon. Apple had like this huge lead.
No. Google came in like the following year.
It was Siri first, then Amazon, and then quickly after Amazon was Google. You can check that out.
Trust me, I have, bro.
I got my Alexa device. I'll give you a specific. I got my Alexa device.
I'm not talking about the device. I'm talking about Hello Google.
No, I'm not talking about Hello Google. I'm talking about the device that drove the interest in all this stuff in the first place. Siri, the only reason that Siri was of interest was because it was on the iPhone. And then
and then that's what I'm saying. And after that, we had Google on the Google phones.
Nobody was even talking about Google. What was it called?
Okay, Google.
Yeah, no, it's Hey Google or something like that. Nobody was
same thing.
Nobody was talking about until Amazon came out with Alexa, and then Google was like, all right, we got to do something here, getting this speaker market with this Hey Google stuff. But this
But
stuff,
I was already talking to my phone, though. I'm just saying.
yeah, but
Or not talking necessarily.
It wasn't even on the radar until after. Like Siri was had the 3-year lead on all of these dudes, and did absolutely nothing with it. Amazon, and you made fun of me for my enthusiasm around all things Alexa, and probably rightfully so, because it never caught on the way I thought it was. But that's not to say that it won't eventually, because I think this Gen AI
trash away.
might do because I think they're all going to have to, like Google, all the Google Home products that didn't catch on like they thought.
And did you know that they moved everybody off of that project now?
Rightfully so. I mean, that whole,
they moved everybody off that project to Bard.
That
Amazon, I'm telling you, Amazon's this close away from doing the same thing.
Well,
and the reason why is because I don't think that these devices now are going to be the interface. They're great to play music.
No, the Amazon, well, they definitely de-emphasized the Alexa.
I mean, look, they were putting it in microwaves, bro.
I know.
Let's not make Amazon.
They were doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Remember, didn't they have, what happened to the health thing too? They had that. I haven't heard anything about that.
I heard not on that specific one, but they were talking about the Apple Watch and how it was going to be able to do blood sugar and all that, and they bought a lot of companies around this because everybody's trying to get into the health thing, right? And come to find out, I'm hearing it's like 3 years away now. Like everybody that claimed that they had it, it was close. That once they get into it and get acquired.
But here's where I think you differentiate Apple and Google from all the others. Apple had the iPhone, Google had the Android. They are universally adopted
as devices.
Nobody is walking around with anything other than an Android or an iPhone device.
Right.
Which is why their failure with the virtual assistant, with the series, and is even more, to me, glaring than Amazon, because Amazon never had that device. Remember, they failed miserably on the phone.
They gave up on that phone.
Yeah. But Apple and Google, there's no reason for them to have let Siri and Google, whatever they call that, just do nothing like it should have done.
So, well, that's again, I've been really looking into this, and here's the deal: is that the way that the interface is trained, and it's not an LLM, so it only knows these short commands,
well,
and to try to,
yeah,
right? But they're saying to try to retool that. It's just like we just got to let it go.
None of these things were ever built to be a conversation piece.
Yeah, it's not
easy,
but we thought it would.
Well, we were hoping it would. I was hoping it would get there.
I mean, the commercial was like, "Oh, it's reading to the kid," bro.
Anyway, so it was always missing It was always missing
next
the
show.
smarts.
Next show.
Always missing the smarts.
We need to bring this really deep on the next show.
All right. Well, all right.
I love it.
When will the next show be? Because aren't you going?
I'm here next week.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm here next week. So we'll have
here next week. And there's what?
I said we'll have another show next week. Let me send a shout out, because LinkedIn user I see is my buddy Sarita Kincaid over at Sugar. Hey, Sarita. And I want you to answer Nathaniel's. First of all, thanks. Happy days. Happy day. This is what Nathaniel said. Isn't it a great time to be alive? So exciting. Aren't you glad you're alive at this day and time?
I think I was glad to be alive every day that I've been alive. So yes, we always get excited about the future, but like I said, unless they change the health part, I'll probably be dead soon. So I'm not that excited. You know what? And I don't know. I really, and I'm being serious. Yeah, it's great, but I mean, I'm an old man. If I was 25 years old, I'd be like, party. You know what I'm saying? But,
Well,
it is cool. It's all right. I'm excited.
in the immortal words of Clint Eastwood,
What's that?
man's got to know his limitations.
A man does have to know his limitations. So I'm
glad you-
enjoy. But one thing I am going to do is not get left behind. I want to keep up. I want to be, I ain't going to do TikTok dancing, but I
Well,
kind of
look at the
enjoy.
they're sticking up for you. Shoot, man, you aren't that old.
I know. Until here's the funny thing. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not even gonna say it. I am gonna say that. There's this new show on Netflix with Rob Lowe in it. Have you seen this show?
With his son?
Yeah, right. I'm like, I had to look up how old is Rob Lowe.
That dude is like 58.
Exactly. He's 59, I think, right now. We're the same age.
30s. Yeah, he looks like he's in his 30s or something.
Who, Rob Lowe?
Yeah, he looks young.
Nah, he looked like he in his 70s, bro. I was like, who?
Rob Lowe. We must be talking about somebody else because he don't look that old.
Whatever. I'm like, look, I look better than Rob Lowe now. Shit.
Now Nathaniel has actually
he's retooled. He's retooled. Exactly.
Correct. He has self-corrected himself.
He has changed. Yes, exactly. So that's the funny part. I mean, like, man, look, you got to put that one up because they always say it.
Well,
there you go.
And on that note, I think it
is true, man. It is true because I was looking. I was like, damn, how old is the dude?
Dude does not
skin. I'm like, oh wow. Okay.
We got different TV sets.
Yeah, I got high def.
Whatever.
No, don't get me wrong. Rob does look good, but I'm just like, how old is? I thought he was older than me. That's what it was. I was like, oh shit.
What'd you say? 59.
Yeah, I'll be 59 in January, so we ain't that far. And when you get this old, it don't matter. That's why I keep saying you're an old man. Just because you're a couple years behind me, you look way older than me.
I'm behind him, so I'm what he's talking about. Anyway, we will apparently we'll be back next week.
Can't wait.
So in the meantime, we're still doing that, right?
Deuces, guys.
We're out. See you next week.